Hi, and welcome to the 700 Club. Thanks for being with us today. You know, we've seen staggering growth in gender medical treatment for children. In the U.S. alone, more than 50 pediatric clinics perform procedures, including surgery, that could leave young patients unable to have children of their own.
Well, now a surprising move by the American Academy of Pediatrics may be putting the brakes on such radical measures. The pushback is coming from parents and professionals, plus a significant shift in direction overseas. Heather Sells reports.
This latest pushback started in July when the United Kingdom closed its national clinic for kids. The shutdown came after an independent review found shaky scientific evidence for pushing hormones, puberty blockers, and surgery.
There's been a tendency here in the United States to dismiss that, and in fact, even to double down and be even more assertive in saying that the affirmative approach must be used here in this country.
U.S. hormone specialists like Dr. Paul Roos are paying close attention. And now a class action lawsuit is launching against the clinic with as many as 1,000 affected families.
I think this is going to be one of the largest medical negligence scandals of all time.
Here in the U.S., social media protests over pediatric gender clinics have taken off, prompting places like the Boston Children's Hospital to remove videos explaining its surgeries. And on Monday, the American Academy of Pediatrics appeared to backpedal, saying that for the vast majority of children, it does not recommend medical treatment or surgery.
I do think that this is a shift. I think it's in response to the criticism that's occurring.
The recent growth in gender medicine is staggering. In the UK, young patients have grown from hundreds to thousands in the last decade. In the U.S., more than 50 pediatric clinics are in business since Boston opened the first in 2007.
That the protocol has become giving children as young as 9, 10, 11 puberty blockers.
Attorney Mary Rice Hassan says many doctors put kids on a one-way treatment path that can lead to long-term harm. Advocates counter that such ages are appropriate.
If we get kids early enough in the process, we put them on puberty blockers or medications that actually keep their body from progressing through that wrong puberty.
Still, the latest research shows these kids will likely lose their ability to have children. Hassan argues they can't grasp the long-term effects of the treatments.
They certainly can't consent to losing their fertility and their sexual function at an age when they haven't even experienced anything about that. How can they have a conception of that?
Many parents are rising up by seeking help, becoming active in the cause, or both, after witnessing how gender medicine has harmed their children. Doctors are also speaking out, organizing to promote evidence-informed care.
I certainly hope that the science can be elevated to be on par with other medical conditions that we treat.
Doctors like Roos propose deeper research to understand the best treatments for kids with gender distress. And they're proposing extreme caution in promoting these medical interventions to young patients and their parents. Andrew.
Like an enormous change of course, but specifically, how important is this week's move by the American Academy of Pediatrics?
I think it's a sign, and it's a sign that is coming from a very influential and prestigious medical organization, Andrew. And keep in mind that in 2018, they put out a statement on transgender care and talked about the watch and wait, the conservative approach, the let's hold off on medicine and medical treatments approach. They called that outdated in 2018. So now that they're saying the vast majority of kids potentially do not need medical treatments is very telling, but how quickly that translates to the ground is debatable.
And as this evolves, what do you see really making the ultimate difference in the whole debate?
Well, two things, Andrew. One is that we've got significant stakeholders speaking out now. We've got professionals who are now really talking about their concerns in the research, and we've got parents who are rising up. Also, I will tell you that there is a legislative move underway to extend the statute of limitations from a couple of years to 30, and that could change the entire equation, because right now, if kids have just 2 to 3 years to say, hey, I've been wronged, I'm going to sue, if they now have up to 30 years to say, hey, I've been wronged, I'm going to sue, that will change the calculus risk for physicians.
Heather, the most influential voices and most powerful could be people who have changed their minds and reversed their gender transition. What are they saying?
Yeah, these people are called detransitioners, and they are sharing what we say is their lived experience, and they are telling tragic stories. They are talking, many of them, not all, but many of them are talking about regret, talking about changes to their bodies that they are trying to change back and cannot, and or talking about lifelong medical complications, extremely sad stories, and I think eventually they're going to be hard to ignore.
All right, Heather, thank you so much for your report and being with us today.
You're welcome.
Well, in other news, a New York primary pitted two long-term Democrats against one another. Ephraim Graham has the results from the CBN newsroom. Ephraim?
Andrew, Congressman Jerry Nadler faced off with fellow House member Carolyn Maloney. The veteran lawmakers running against each other after a court forced them into the same New York City district. Though they've been colleagues for years, the race did get a little negative. In the end, the voters chose Nadler over Maloney. Meanwhile, in Florida, Charlie Crist easily won the Democratic primary for governor. Crist is a former governor who ran the state from 2007 to 2011. He was a Republican then, but has since become a Democrat. He'll face incumbent Ron DeSantis. 6 months after Russia invaded Ukraine, the U.S. is helping the nation dig in for long-term resistance. President Biden is set to announce $3 billion in aid towards training and equipping Ukrainian forces in the years ahead. Today is also Ukraine's Independence Day. President Zelensky and his wife honored Ukrainian casualties at a memorial in Kyiv. The UN estimates more than 5,000 civilians have died in the war so far. That figure is probably much higher. Still, as Zelensky noted in a speech to the nation, no one expected Ukraine to do this well against the Russian army.
On February 24th, we were told you have no chance. On August 24th, we say Happy Independence Day, Ukraine. During these 6 months, we changed history, changed the world, and changed ourselves.
Destroyed Russian tanks and artillery have been on display in downtown Kyiv this week. However, the government banned public gatherings due to warnings of Russian strikes on civilians. The war has taken a devastating toll on Ukraine's civilian population. Millions have fled to neighboring Poland seeking safety, where many are finding aid and comfort. From CBN's Operation Blessing.
I had a beautiful life, I think. I was a teacher, a tutor, a chemist, a biochemist. I had my business in Ukraine. My life changed. I don't know who I am now.
As early as 4 a.m., Ksenia and many other crisis victims arrive at Operation Blessing's relief distribution in Krakow, Poland. Not only do they get essential supplies, they also get the chance to socialize with other Ukrainians and restore a sense of community.
We can just talk about our problems. It's helping me when I'm trying to speak about what I had, what problems and my experience. But when people are telling me their stories, it's very hard. You feel them, their pain.
79-year-old Maria has been moving from place to place in Ukraine since the war started. But as the war progressed, she was forced to flee to Poland.
Actually, I didn't want to leave. It's very hard to get through this.
In Poland, helping refugees is becoming increasingly difficult due to a lack of funding. But thanks to the support of Operation Blessing partners, we're linking arms with Foundation on Life and DNA Church to distribute hundreds of bags of food to crisis victims. These bags are enough to sustain hurting families for at least 2 weeks.
We are grateful to Operation Blessing for their support. These bags are full of good products.
In addition to providing food and supplies, Operation Blessing is serving the hearts of crisis victims. Our team prayed for families at the distribution, including Ksenia and Maria, to show God's love and lift their spirits. Operation Blessing teams also showed Superbook episodes and ministered to children staying in shelters.
Showing God's love and mercy to these families is so important. My dream is that Jesus will always be first in what we do. When Operation Blessing came to help and started service with prayer, I realized that my dream came true.
The story of the war may be fading from the headlines, but Operation Blessing still front and center. Andrew?
Right, Ephraim, thank you. 6 months. Can you believe that? We're 6 months into this war, and people have been displaced for many, many weeks, months, many of them. And while the war may not be top of mind for you, there are still people obviously displaced and struggling and distressed and in crisis. I want to say thank you to CBN partners. Your gifts are making a tremendous difference, not only bringing essential needs to people like food and places to stay, but the hope of Jesus Christ to people in desperate need of hope and to hear the salvation message. If you'd like to jump on board with what we're doing here at CBN, you can become a CBN partner. Just call 800-700-7000. We're doing a lot of wonderful things around the world thanks to you, and helping people in the Ukraine situation in Poland is just one of them. So again, 800-700-7000 if you'd like to be on board. And for those of you who have helped, thank you so much.